everybody, and welcome back to another Kobold Con. It's our second day of Kobold Con, Saturday, March 28th, and many of you are sitting at home, hanging out, just tuning in, or maybe you've just come back from organized play over in our Kobold Press Discord. And if so, I hope you had one hell of a time, because, I mean, what's a better way to start off your Saturday than playing some TTRPGs with some either strangers or friends, whoever. Playing TTRPGs with anyone is just kind of a good time. And I'm glad so many of you had a fun time doing that, and hopefully have some more time scheduled either later today or tomorrow to go do some more. In fact, we have quite a bit of paneling for you today. We only have a couple of panels. I think we have like 3. Yeah, we've got 3 panels that are going to, take us through the next 3 hours. Then we're going to have another 3 hours of org play back in the Kobold Press Discord. So if you haven't already signed up for some org play, you still can. There are plenty of slots left. Trust me. So if you're trying to get your game on, got nothing else to do today, or maybe, you want to switch things up and add something else, you always can. Just head on over to the Discord. You can find it over on the Kobold Press Store website. I'm sure someone could also post a link in the chat. However you want to find it, go do so, because, hey, go play. I also want to remind you that everything that you get on the Kobold Press Store and on Dashery over the course of this weekend, right? If you're going over to the Kobold Press Store, you're thinking of, maybe I'm going to pre-order Northlands, right? It's pretty close to coming out into stores, so don't worry. You can go and get it over on the Kobold Press Store, and a percentage of that is going to go to our charity of choice, Tabletop Alliance, which you can find more info about at tabletopalliance.org, I believe. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm right on that before I... Yes, it is. Oh, man, I was exactly correct. It is tabletopalliance.org. I'm going to pop that in here. You can either go and donate to them directly, or you can get something on the Kobold Press Store, get yourself some games, and do good at the same time. And that's what we're all about here at Kobold Press. So what do we got? So starting up, we do have an interview that I've already recorded with Wolfgang and Richard Green, 2 of the writers on our new straight to PDF book, Death on the Styx. So, hey. Or I don't think it's straight to PDF. It might also be a hardcover. Dot can correct me on that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But it is a brand new adventure taking place within the Labyrinth setting aboard a wonderful ship that you all will learn more about in just a few moments. So stick around for this. And then afterwards, we have another panel where we're going to be doing some dungeon design with me and our editorial director, Thomas. So, before that, let's get through Death on the Styx. Hello, everybody at Kobold Con, and welcome to our panel talking about a new product that you might have heard us talk a little bit about, but now you're actually going to get some real information, and that's on Death on the Styx. And today I am joined with 2 of the minds behind this creation and of the labyrinth itself, which this adventure takes place in. Wolfgang and Richard, how are the 2 of you doing today?
Oh, great. Thanks for having us. We're always happy to chat about the labyrinth. We can go on and on.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah,
Great to be here.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about the labyrinth. There are thousands of worlds to see and explore, and so many factions and people to see in it as well. And this adventure is kind of about that. It's about traveling the labyrinth. Can you just give us broad strokes on the highest level? What is Death on the Styx, and how does it fit into the labyrinth?
Joy,
Oh,
answer
boy.
this.
Yeah, you can do this. Well, you wrote this outline.
So it's a series of 9 adventures, and it starts at level 3 and goes up to level 11, and it takes place across the many worlds of the labyrinth that connect to the river Styx. So at the end of each adventure, The characters will go up a level. They should be level 12 after the final adventure. And it works as an introduction and a kind of tour of the labyrinth to players that are new to the setting. Kind of in the way how Empire of the Ghouls was a bit of a tour of Midgard. So it takes you through a lot of the kind of interesting places, interesting worlds of the labyrinth on a very special ship called the Silver Sphinx.
Yeah, it is. Frankly, I mean that is all true and accurate, but I also think it's uh, an interworld tour, right? You're going from the Hells to the Summerlands to celestial things. The void is nibbling at the edges, like
as it is.
yeah, like it's a river barge tour. Um, but it's also a lovely way to just episode by episode have a whole different environment every time with this interlinked story. So I love the structure.
Yeah. Each adventure is a different world, so you get to go to 9 different worlds, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I like the kind of framing of it in a kind of like episodic nature of, every place, every session, or at least every adventure, you're going to see a new place. You're going to see new people. You're going to be it's kind of like the best parts of the labyrinth, right? That you
Oh
do
yeah,
all
it's a
of these
highlights
places.
tour. It's like port of call. It's always the most interesting bit. And then because it's an adventure sequence, I mean, Richard had these lovely twists and turns that each adventure had to bring, leading up to this big finale at the end where things go horribly, horribly wrong. I guess we won't spoil it. It's too soon, but
It's too soon.
the payoff's pretty great, but all along the way, I mean, I wrote an adventure. Richard, did you write one, or did you just write the Silver Sphinx, the ship, and the NPCs?
I wrote the sort of overall outline, or expanded the outline that there was, and kind of wrote the sort of basics for each adventure, and then detailed a bit more about the ship, and then various freelancers picked up different chapters. But I also wrote the climactic chapter because I wanted to do that.
That's right.
That was the most exciting bit.
You saved the best bit. That's fair.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think it sort of the structure of it is a little bit. If you're familiar with the Horror on the Orient Express from the Call of Cthulhu classic Call of Cthulhu campaign, it's got that same thing. So when you stop off, there's a kind of adventure in each place, and some of them are connected to the main plot, but a lot of them aren't. So it's very modular, and it gives you a chance to do completely different things in each location, and experience different parts of the labyrinth, meet different factions, meet different NPCs, different villains.
That's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in and say my adventure is called Midsummer Dreams. And as an example of what it does, it's for 9th level characters, I believe. And it's in the Summerlands. So it's sort of the elvish heavens, basically. There are fey courts, fey lords, fey ladies. The Countess of Garlands throws a party every summer. There's a lovely like summer party festival flyer to hand out to people to say, come to our party. And it just so happens that the Silver Sphinx is coming along the Styx around the time of that. And some people on board the boat want to go to this giant fey party, which, puts kind of a time limit on it. You're offshore, you're on a shore excursion from the boat. You've got a couple of days, maybe, right, when they're taking on stores and, like saying, okay, fine, enjoy the Summerlands. It's much nicer than the Hells. Right, so spend a day ashore. But then the Countess of Garlands has issues. The Birch Queen, there is bitchy interfae fighting going on all the time among the noble fae. And what do you know? The adventurers get caught up in some of this. You called me what? I'm going to ruin your party. Basically, that's the thrust of the Birch Queen's complaint. Is she was disrespected at court, and she wants to take revenge by ruining the party, which is sort of the first thread of what's going on. The adventurers run into some of these plots. How do you ruin a festival where thousands of fae are already being tricksters? And then we reintroduce some characters from Wrath of the River King and Courts of the Shadow Fae. Lady Soraminx is back. A couple other NPCs that might be familiar to people who've played those prior Fae adventures. And then there's there's a grand finale at the festival where everybody comes together and they sing in a great fake chorus, and it's a big musical moment, just sort of like a, you know, summer rock concert at Glastonbury or something. Only, right? Only with Fae and magic and the void trying to creep in. And if the players are smart, they've heard the rumors, because the Dreamers faction of the Labyrinth is involved with this. They know something's coming. They know something's going wrong. They're looking to fix it, but they also have all these great dreams at this great big party. So the Dreamers are this weird faction of mystics and, you know, Bacchanalian, Dionysian types who know a lot. And the leader of that faction actually shows up at the festival. So that's Lady Lachey. Yeah, I don't know how to describe her other than, like, if the Oracle of Delphi met, you know, a voodoo madam from New Orleans and decided to tell the future, that's kind of her. And so she's also an NPC of the Labyrinth, a major faction leader who shows up and interacts with the player characters and you know, has ideas about what is going on. So we're stirring the pot pretty hard by 9th level, right? The adventure sequence is about 2/3 of the way done, and it's sort of the end of the second act here, maybe in a 3-act structure. But yeah, I loved writing this thing. I've always loved the Summerlands.
I can tell.
I found my old high school folder, a manila folder with the word Elflands on it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was senior year in high school. I've been writing about this place for a long time. So it was like revisiting old friends. And I hope it's as much fun to play as it was to write. I kind of got to play test little bits of it. And yeah, I'm always happy to write an adventure. So yeah, Richard, thanks for giving me my favorite stop along the Styx.
Well, I put some of my favorite Fae characters in there from past adventures. So yeah. And in the very first adventure as well, I put in a character that I wrote for Warlock. I don't know how many years ago. Heckler's the Temerarius. He's like the host of the he's like the patron of the characters in the first adventure. And the first adventure is a murder mystery set on the boat during against the backdrop of an auction. So there's lots of fun there, and I think there'll be a cool handout. I think like an auction program or that kind of thing, or a menu for the Silver Sphinx or something like that. I think there'll be lots of really cool handouts throughout this that tie into the adventures.
Yeah,
I love the way you made a recurring cast for the Silver Sphinx. Like the crew is there, the captain's there, sort of fellow passengers who show up in multiple adventures, right?
Yeah.
I think the last time we did something with the cast being sort of NPC cast, I mean, being locked in early and the adventures written around them, was a thing called Streets of Zobek, which was a similar thing where it was innkeepers and, you know, guard members, and we had this whole cast of alchemists and weirdos and kobolds, and then wrote the adventures, and the NPCs show up again and again. So that's fun.
People on the boat, people in the crew get like a bit of a spotlight in various different adventures. So they might be in the background early on, and then later on, one of them needs the characters to help. So the engineer needs the help of the characters when they're in hell to kind of go and get some parts for the engine. So that's a kind of challenge. Yeah. Another one is kind of in trouble with some criminals and needs a bit of help getting out of that. So there's kind of different opportunities to meet these different people. And then people get on and off the boat as well. So some NPCs they're on 2 or 3 stops, and then they get off and new ones get on. So the cast is kind of keeping fresh and changing, which is really fun as well. So I think Lachey gets on the boat after the Summerlands and is there till the end. So there's different opportunities to kind of spend some time with some of these characters. And I think all the 4 heroic factions all appear. So there's a bit in the Old Ring near the start. There's the bit in the Dreamers in Wolfgang's adventure. There's a fight between the Void and the Concord of Stars on the Plane of Air, which the player characters witness. And they go and visit the keepers in the smithy and do something for them as well. So all the main factions, I'm not going to say which of the evil factions are involved, but some of them aren't.
I've
There's
heard
quite
that
a bit
hell's
of
been
void.
mentioned
There's
multiple
quite a bit of
times.
void and hells going on in this.
Yeah.
But there are multiple villains, so you're never really sure who the main villain is. But there is a main villain, and he's in my adventure at the end.
Oh, I love that. There's so much here, right? And I think like of what you all have already said, you've kind of like hit what I think makes this adventure so great. You do get a little bit of everything, and I think with it all being within the same adventure path, it does kind of highlight the interconnectedness of everything.
Hmm.
Of like popping into one place, seeing this faction, going to a different place, and I'm like, oh, I know you. I was just, talking with XYZ, so on and so forth. And and I think where this comes in, like, or at least from my perspective, the kind of like through line of this is this boat, the Silver Sphinx
Yes.
that takes you from beginning to
Yeah.
end. And it almost kind of becomes like a character in and of itself because the players are going to spend so much time here and with all of the people. I'm interested in, because I also know the Silver Sphinx has a lore and story in and of itself. I'm wondering what the initial pitch was. Was the Silver Sphinx, as it stands now, always such a core aspect of it, or was that something that kind of got picked up over time for you?
So I think the boat was a core aspect. There was always going to be a boat, and it was like an Egyptian style twin hulled catamaran, and it
Hmm.
had oars. And I think that was the brief. And I was thinking about Death on the Nile a lot, and kind of like a luxury because they're going to be VIPs on this ship. So we
Hmm.
started thinking about cocktail lounges and VIP
Hmm.
cabins and all of that kind of stuff. And then I sort of was thinking about I think we didn't have a name to start with, and then I was thinking about Sphinx is a good name, and then there was a bit of discussion about the figurehead, and then the figurehead is now actually a character. So there's a Sphinx called Chaffris who is his
Yes.
spirit is bound into the figurehead. He's gone. He's subject to an infernal contract. I think he has 300 years. He's stuck inside this figurehead. So the characters can actually talk to the figureheads.
Hmm.
The captain and the pilot have to sort of talk to him to get the ship to move and stuff like that. He can give advice, and he's like a sort of skeletal, jackal-headed Anubis sort of sphinx, or
Yes.
that's the form he takes. But if you've read like the Robin Hobb live ship books or anything like that, where you've got this kind of figurehead who's a part of the ship and a character, that's what it's like. And I think the Anubis Sphinx thing fits the Egyptian Death on the Nile sort of homage as well.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
really fun character. But there
I,
are also all these recurring crew characters. The person who runs the bar and the engineer and all of that, who all got these personalities that you can get to spend time with. They're all fun characters, I think, fleshed out by the different designers.
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, I mean the ship itself is exactly that. It's your home base, your village, and the source of all the adventures, right? So if you're going to have a magical ship that travels between worlds, it better be interesting. And certainly the Silver Sphinx fits that bill. Um, the nice thing is, though, if you're like, we're ninth level, we want to visit the Summerlands, we're going to play this Dreamers scenario with the Fae, and then you just say, you know what? We're getting off the boat and we'll
Yeah.
save the next section. You can, right?
Yeah.
The design was forced to be very episodic by the nature of you're going from plane to plane.
Yeah.
You've got a mission you need to resolve before you leave. Plot points do carry on throughout the whole thing. But if you just said, you know what, we're only here for 3 bits, um, you could pick certain portions. And the way I design Midsummer Dreams is uh, there's a long version and a short version. I listed some encounters as, this is kind of optional.
Hmm.
If you want to drop it, and if you're like, no, we're kind of rushing to the next thing, or we just don't play that often, we want to have the compressed experience.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, it's not quite an accordion, but you can feel the
Where it can
here's the
stretch
title.
and
Right. I said these are the 3 main plot beats that need to happen, and here are 7 more that you can throw in, right? But you don't have to. You could pick the drunken centaur scene as, oh, this is where the Birch Queen's really wrecking things, and go all out with that, right? Like there's a little miniature centaur riot. Or you could say, yeah, that's sort of combat and nasty, and we don't want to do that. We'll just skip ahead to the end, and that's okay too. So there's flexibility even within each of the land side.
And I think you can miss.
Yeah.
I think you can miss stops out, and if you want to, you can add more stops in. So if you want the ship to take an even longer route, and you want to put your own adventures. And if there's a world in a labyrinth that we're not going to on this, but you really like it, you can put it in.
If the Ratatosk and the Squirrel Folk absolutely need to be in here, you can make
exactly,
that.
exactly. And at the end as well, we put some suggestions of where the ship might be going next, like half a dozen suggestions of other places.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to kind of carry on with the voyage, you can keep going, and because there's, as you say, there's thousands of worlds in the labyrinth, so you can go and visit all those other ones as well. So it's really it's a very flexible structure to kind of shorten it, add extra bits in, add your own creations, go to other published campaigns, all that sort of. You can do all of those things.
Yeah, and that's like one of the great strengths about the Labyrinth, right? It does have that kind of freedom of being able to flow from adventure to genre to world pretty seamlessly, and it all still kind of fits together in a way that is just like a master stroke. It is just it is so, and I love that this adventure is going to help give people maybe not the framework, but a little bit, because they get the ship and they get to see, hey, here are how we connect all of these adventures. Like you said, if you want to plop your own, if you want to quickly, like, oh, you know what? Well, let's stop by Old Margrave really quick, somewhere, or like, or anywhere. They have that power, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The beauty of this particular adventure is, it does showcase the labyrinth beautifully. But the labyrinth was always meant to be homebrew friendly, genre friendly, and we do that. I mean, the section in the Hells is also a lot of fun, but I've liked the 11 Hells ever since Kobold started messing with that. Oh, I don't know. When did we start with the 11 Hells, Richard? That's got to be...
Oh yeah, at least
15. It was
15 years, maybe.
15 years. It was early on.
Yeah.
There's an issue of Warlock where we define them, and we're only visiting one of them here, but I think it's
this
the
one
top
goes
layer.
goes to the friendly hell.
The friendly hell, yes.
The friendly hell,
of
course, yeah.
Bashir wrote the adventure, and there's lots of infuriating infernal bureaucracy you have to go through, getting sent from one department to another department to pick up the right form, to go and see the person you need to see, to get your engine.
You can't kill your way out of it, unfortunately.
No.
Although
you
you'll
can bribe your
want...
way out of it. You have to bribe a lot of devils to get your way out of it. It's really funny, actually.
You can kill some devils if you bribe people to look the other way later, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It looks like he was murdered, but it was suicide. Here's some money.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can do lots of favors you can do for various people to smooth the wheels. Yeah, it's really good fun.
Right?
That's so good.
I think we talked about the murder mystery and sort of the bribery and bureaucracy and the big summer fest. I should say Midsummer Dreams has a bunch of combat sequences in it.
Mm-hmm.
They've all got a lot of combat in.
Right. We focus on the non-combat things because that's more unusual, but there's a kidnapping that happens that the players can stop during Midsummer Dreams, and the finale is a straight up fight. So it's not that this is entirely an exploratory and role-playing adventure.
No.
Quite the contrary. About a third of it is solid combat.
Yeah.
The ship gets attacked a lot as well. That's the other thing.
A
lot of the episodes are like, these people attack the ship, and the ship has got ballistas on it, and but the crew don't really do the fighting. The characters have to do quite a bit of fighting. So,
you're sailing on the Styx, right?
Yeah.
The Styx is not exactly
it's not
friendly
a nice
water.
place. There were like river demons and all sorts.
Yeah.
And then when you get onto my adventure, where the ship's taken a really bad wrong turn and ended up in a dead world in the near void, then it's really not very nice there, because it's like a dismal swamp, kind of strange ruins. They don't know where they are, and they've got to find their way out. So my adventure's called Escape from the Void, because that's what you have to do. Get the ship back to the River Styx and back to safety. And there are demons and void tainted creatures and things like that to fight, and some ruins to explore. And then the campaign's kind of arch villain finally reveals their plan and has to be stopped, so you can escape. So there's a big sort of climax at the end. Which is a lot of fun to put together.
You get to see every single part of, or not every single part of the labyrinth. You get to see a lot of parts of the labyrinth,
range,
including the void.
big, yeah. You get to the sort of survivable bit of the void. So.
Yeah, not deep void,
just void. It's horrible, but it's not too bad.
You're only 12th level, right?
Yeah.
We can't be throwing you to the Void Saints quite yet.
But you have to deal with the void taint and those kind of things. So there are some challenges there, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain is just full of ideas now, because this is, I think, a great introduction, right? If, let's say, you were a new GM and you wanted to introduce your players, you got the Labyrinth World book and you're like, oh, there's so much I want to play with here, and you don't know where to start. Death on the Styx sounds like a pretty good place to at least start getting their feet wet, because you get to, at the very least, start seeing all of these places. And then at the end of it, when you've beaten the big bad, maybe you've saved the Silver Sphinx, you can, like you said earlier, you could keep going, right? You can, now it's like, oh man, is there any place we want to revisit? Is there any other new place we want to see? Other people that have gotten off that we want to go revisit?
Absolutely.
Well, part of the design brief for the Labyrinth was, make it possible to play World of the Week, right? If you want to go from the Hells this week to Midgard that week to, I don't know, the Smithy and the Keeper's Fortress, sure, you can do that week to week. And if you just want to retire to one of them and go deep on one world, you can. But that's not the Labyrinth's strength, right? It's variety. And so just like a sitcom that bops around from Quantum Leap to Quantum Leap, then it's one of those. Or frankly, any other voyaging thing, right? Like Star Trek structure in most of the series is you're on a new planet every week, right?
Yeah.
Not DS9. All right. But it's the same thing, and that's the appeal. So you can fit in your own bits. I think you could take the pieces of the Labyrinth Adventures book that came out around the same time as the World book.
Yeah.
You could slot some of them in here. Certainly any that are near a body of water qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so you can, stretch it out or not. When you mentioned Horror on the Orient Express, Richard, I realized that structure, because I played through Horror on the Orient Express, and it took about 2 years in that mega box of just huge amounts of, from London to Istanbul. They've expanded that over the years, right? The first version of that box set,
some more chapters in, haven't they? More stops,
and they've added more. And then they had a Kickstarter and put in some more stops. And then they're like, "Well, here's another supplement." And now, instead of it being the express from London to Venice to Constantinople, it's the local, right? It's every single. You can go too far. Are we stopping again? Yeah, we're still in. We're still in Austria. We're still in, I forget, Greece. But yes, that's a lot of fun here. I think the ancientness of the ship also is fun. The connections to the Egyptian mythos is kind of there and fun to play with.
It has an infernal engine as well, which is quite cool.
Oh, that's always fun.
So the captain is a boatwright. So the boatwrights faction, a lot of them are the crew of the ship. So they kind of come into play there as well. So and they have like sort of connections with the Styx and with the Hells as well. So
they're very much
fun.
they're not one of the big four factions, but you're on their terrain here, right? This is what they
absolutely.
You're literally in their wheelhouse. This is
Yeah.
the boat rides are a lot of fun. I think at some point they will. I don't know. They seem to appeal to the designers. I don't know if people play members of that faction. They're a little creepy sometimes.
Oh, but that's never stopped a player before.
It's never stopped a player. Can I be
not mine?
You mean I
get to play guy?
I get to play like a weird boat person to be like, so we need to go down the Styx again, and like,
what? No, not
great.
Again. Yes.
Don't worry, it'll be safe. Rubbing hands together, like that's great.
Right? That's them all over. So having them as crew is fun because they don't necessarily have the same connection as the big four factions, but yeah, they bring something to the table.
Yeah.
I should also say, like the where the campaign starts is completely up to you. So it starts in a city or a port. So it could be your home world, or it could be Zobek, or it could be wherever you want it to begin. So you get invited on board the ship to go to this auction, and then from there on it sort of sets off on its voyage. So you've got a lot of flexibility there to start the game where you want, and you start at level 3, so you could do 1 or 2 adventures in your home world or Midgard or whatever you're using, and then take on from there, which is fun.
I do love the idea of starting off, first 3 level, because you said this one starts at 3rd level, right? 3rd to 11th. You're doing like, the introductory part, you're getting your feet wet, you're just starting your adventure, and then all of a sudden you're taking on this grand world hopping adventure. And at the end of and after you're done, maybe you're like, I want to go home.
Yeah, you're in tier 3 at the end, so that's you're kind of
I totally think that's a perfectly, circling back to the beginning, beautiful structure, right? Like you're back at the port where you came from, and you walk off, and it's like, okay, I've seen the multiverse. I'm done now, or I'm back, and I'm a big badass because I've seen the Hells and the Summerlands and the Void. So yeah, it's up to you where you want to end it, but obviously circling back home would be great.
Right, having that come home moment of look how much we've changed, look how much we've seen, all the stories we can tell, but also there is like you've been gone a long time, maybe things have changed, and now you're level 12 and can do something about it.
Oh my goodness! If the seeds of the first 3 levels of play paid off 9 levels later with some,
right,
your homebrew vampire lord has taken over. Oh no, you weren't here, guys.
Yeah,
you'll need to deal with them now. Yeah, that'd be fun too.
Yeah, that's good.
GMs, take note. It's so flexible. You can do whatever you want with it. Players, convince your GMs to get it.
Right. Well, it is coming out this summer, right? Like we're headed to press in it's still a while, but we're getting there. And the art is great. The cartography for the ship and the various worlds is beautiful. I think the cover art's great. Are we revealing the cover art here?
I mean, I can. Hey, everybody. It's been said. It sounds like Wolfgang's okay with it. So it's going to pop up on screen right now. Wow.
Yeah,
look at
right? That's the Silver Sphinx right there.
Very
Welcome
cool.
aboard.
The cover art for this adventure is so good. It's just seeing all of like the things crawling on the ship and like everything it's
a luxury vessel.
Yeah, don't you want to be on
a
this
lounge?
Yeah.
This
is where
things go a bit wrong.
I want to spend the next 11 levels here.
Oh, it's only 9. It'll pass it.
Okay. Well, see, that's much better.
Yeah, it's a meaty book with lots to love. The handouts, the art, the cartography, the cover. But the heart of it is this adventure that takes you on this tour.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to work on this. Just love working on this kind of thing. So it was great to do.
Well, okay, I take it back. Yeah, we have done more and more with adventure paths as a category, right? Linked adventures, we've always had kind of loosely linked stuff since, I don't know, the old Margrave, maybe, kind of loosely linked. But they've gotten tighter and tighter and smarter in the design over the years, right? Like you can pop things in and out of this one because the way it's built. And others are just like, okay, well, they're short adventures, right? Some of the things we publish in PDF only formats, like, okay, it's a quick drop in, there's Mossbeard, there's a mill, go to town. But this one is an expansion of the Labyrinth setting. It brings back some well-loved long-term characters from prior Kobold products, and it builds on the worlds and the lore. I mean, we did kind of pick some of the most popular stuff. Like we went to the friendly hell for a reason. It's more survivable and it's highly entertaining. So yeah, it's a best of the Labyrinth in some ways.
There's a section in the smithy as well, which is nice to have a kind of adventure set there, and the sort of goes out into the labyrinth. So the characters get to go out into the labyrinth on foot through some of the passageways and go to one of the ruins of the ancients. So that's also fun.
And there's a bit in the
the ancients in there. There's a bit in the old ring, and there's a bit in the plane of air as well. So there's a few other and the Shadow Realm as well. So
we do pop in
the Shadow Realm.
There's a two town stops in two towns in the Shadow Realm. It stops in Dalliance and it stops in Coromel, the City of Lanterns.
We stopped in Dalliance. I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, we've been to Coromel before.
So there's lots of fun stuff there.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Yeah.
Well,
yes. Well, so the Shadow Fae show up, the devils, the void creatures, and some heroic figures, right? Like some.
Yeah, definitely.
The Concord of Stars, for instance.
Concord of Stars.
Of course.
Keepers are helpful people.
This Death on the Styx sounds like, I mean, a pretty classic Kobold Press adventure in that it's great. It's great, and
we picked our favorite bits and we poured our heart and soul into it. So I think that's the secret of success here is we tend to design things that we would love to run and sometimes get to run as playtests, but like designing just for the sake of saying, oh, let's do a tour, that's no fun. And I think the way the assignments went, right, like everyone got to pick their favorite world or plane to go with.
They've done the other writers have done such a great job. I can't wait to run this. This is going to be the next thing I run. So I'm so excited to run it.
Is it starting in Persantium?
I think it will. Yeah, I think it will because it can start anywhere. So a couple of
start in your world
there, get on the boat, and then off they go. That's the plan.
That's so good.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, Wolfgang,
I think I'm only going to run the finale. I'm going to wreck everything by just saying, I'm going to take my 12th level home game and say, yeah, you're getting on this boat. It's just leaving the Summerlands and it's heading straight for this. Yeah, and it'll just, they won't know what's going on. It'll be the final scene, just sort of suddenly, boom, everything's gone wrong and you're lost. Wait, what? What boat did we get on? Oh, it's called the Silver Sphinx. No, why didn't we ask?
Now I'm just imagining starting later on in someone else's adventure. Someone else was doing the whole adventure, and then ship gets attacked, they die, and it's like, now it's your turn. You have to
recover it. Right? You find a ship rudderless and adrift in the swampy part of the Styx.
Oh my God.
The figurehead starts talking to you and asks for help.
I need help, please. Move me.
There's lots of ways to play with this. I think over time we're going to see the Silver Sphinx come back and other stories and other adventures. We'll taunt people with the return. But for now, it's a beautiful introduction. And I don't know. I think we all knocked ourselves out on this one.
I can tell how much you all are excited about what you've done at the very least, and what you know that the other writers have done as well. And I think that tells us enough that this is going to be such just a fantastic adventure.
Right.
Hope you love it.
Yeah.
It's coming soon.
Yes. Well, thank you, Wolfgang and Richard. It's always great talking to the both of you about anything you all are doing. And Death on the Sticks sounds pretty great. At the very least, to me, all of you listening, you'll have to make your own opinions about that. But if you don't think it's great, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to hop from world to world, getting into parties, doing bureaucracy, stopping a murder. Come on. It sounds great.
Being attacked by river demons.
Come on. Who doesn't want
about that?
Who doesn't want to get attacked by river demons? But yes, thank you all so much. And I will be passing it off to myself in the present, because this is the past, if you couldn't tell. And we will continue on with all the Kobold Con festivities. Thank you both so much. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And look at that. It's me from the present now. No longer the past. Hold on, I got to unmute a thing. There we go. Hey, everybody. Death on the Sticks. Death on the Styx, a river cruise of unlike any other that's going to take you from world to world across the labyrinth. Working great if your players are new to the labyrinth and you're trying to introduce them to this concept of world hopping adventure and all of the different ways in which these places are connected to each other, either through portals or through the river Styx itself. Death on the Styx is going to be one adventure to remember. Thank you all so much for sticking with us for that pre-recorded interview. But hey, don't worry, we still have so much more Kobold Con to get into. Next up, we have the Design Jam, a dungeon design jam with me and our editorial director Thomas, where we are going to be sitting down and making the kind of like beginning parts of a dungeon in celebration of Hastening Doom, our new backer kit crowdfunder that goes live for Mega Dungeon Month this April, alongside a bunch of other publishers, mega dungeons as well. So we'll be talking a little bit about that while making a dungeon together. And hey, just like yesterday with the building a villain, you all will get a little bit of a say in helping us get this off the ground and building something worthwhile. But before then, we're going to go take a little break. So go get a snack, go use the bathroom. For we know what monster books are needed to play. Oh, for Death on the Styx, I imagine it would be either the Labyrinth World Book and the Monster Vault, though I imagine there's going to be additional references in the book, but those two would be my main thoughts on that. But we're going to go take a break, go use the bathroom, get some snacks, whatever you need to do, and we will be back at the top of the hour to do a little design jam. See y'all then. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kobold Con. It is. I hope you all had a good time during your break, whatever it is that you were doing during your break, grabbing a snack, getting some water, whatever it is. I'm happy that you're back here with all of us, because right now I'm being joined by our editorial director, Thomas. How's it going, Thomas?
Going well. It's a good Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are good.
Yeah, and I especially know that both you and I have something that we're doing later on today that I'm very excited about. But right,
Roll a few dice and maybe bash some monsters later on.
Yeah, that's what that's what adventuring's all about, But before we get to that, we got to talk about what we're doing right now. You and I are going to do a little design jam where we're going to build kind of like the foundation and like kind of starting point for a dungeon, partially in celebration to our newest crowdfunder coming in on backer kit, Hastening Doom. Can you tell us a little bit about what Hastening Doom is and like how this came to be?
Sure. So back at the very end of 2022, sometime in December, a award-winning designer named Sean McCoy put something out there on one of his blogs that says, "Hey, let's make 2023 the year of the mega dungeon," and proposed that people design mega dungeons, which is kind of hard to do if you sit down and you stare at a big giant piece of paper, do a big map. Can feel overwhelming. So what Sean proposed was that you just design one room a day, and every month you do a level for your dungeon. So you would have like a 30 room first level, a 31 room, as you go through from month to month, you do it. And so at the end of the year, you would have 365 dungeon rooms over 12 levels, and you created your own mega dungeon. So we thought that was really cool. And Jeff Quick, the guy that manages our blog, came up with this idea that we should do it as a series of blog posts. Mm-hmm. And we did it kind of as a design jam. We got together a bunch of our freelance designers and put them to work coming up with some clever ideas for dungeon rooms. Now, we didn't post a blog entry every single day, but we did do, I think, like every couple of weeks, we would post a handful of rooms that the designers had done. So, it hit the spirit of the idea of Dungeon 23, or they call it D23 for short. Yeah. And so the end result was that Color Press created a cool dungeon. Ours wasn't 12 levels, but it was several levels deep, and had a bunch of cool rooms and monsters and traps and things like that. So that's how I got started. Yeah. Then the idea was, hey, we've put this thing together. Let's expand on it a little bit. Let's kind of flesh out some areas and put a little more caulk in between things, and actually create a publishable product. And so it's not just a rehash of the blog. The blog is sort of informs it, but there's more there. We expanded on it. We added a couple of additional levels to go with the stuff that had already shown up in the blog, and everything got spread out a little bit more. We just we smoothed some of the rough edges and things like that. Yeah. And so that's what we've got now. This cool book that we're going to be, like you said, putting it on backer kit and be offering. And it's definitely a throwback to kind of the old school dungeon crawl type dungeons. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah,
I could go into more detail, but I figured you've got other questions. So
no, that's great. I love there's something about the design jam and like focusing on like small parts of the dungeon at a time in order to make like the whole of it more more feasible, or
it just doesn't seem as overwhelming. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Really, anybody can design a mega dungeon, one room at a time.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. I'm very excited about this. Mostly just because I love the concept of a mega dungeon. And
I do
like
too.
just like this place that you're constantly coming like in and out of, making progress every now and then, trying to map it all out, and like how things just live inside of it.
Yeah, for this project, to kind of keep things a little bit easier for our team, our crack team of Dungeoneers, we ended up going with the commercially available maps from Dyson Logos for this. And his maps are just gorgeous. They're black and white. All the art that's going to be in the book is black and white, so it really does have that old school feel to it. But yeah, because it gets a little tricky when you've got multiple people designing things to say, all right, make sure that hallway meets up with this hallway or whatever. So it was a good idea to go ahead and take some existing maps and then work from there. But there was a lot of interesting back and forth between the different designers about, hey, I'm putting this puzzle in here and I need to have a key for it somewhere else, and then another designer was like, okay, great, I'll pick that up and make sure that goes into this other room of mine. So, and then we kind of had to come along behind it and make sure that everything was lining up like it should when we got it ready for publication. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun watching it grow that way. Very organically.
That's so cool. We do have one question that I do want to ask before we get on our way here. Will Hastening Doom feature monster stats inside of it, or will it just be referencing other books?
So it's mostly referencing other books. But there are going to be a few unique. There's several boss monsters that are going to be that have their full stats in the product. So cool. There's a little of both, but yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head which of those monster books it'll be? Because this is a 5e product, so will it be...
Right, so it is... We're calling it a 5e product, but you can absolutely use this with either 5e or 5.5e or Tales of the Valiant, because it's an adventure.
Right.
And the stuff that's in there works regardless of which rule set you're using for your characters and their feats and all that kind of stuff. But we've got references to all 3 Tome of Beasts books plus the Creature Codex. And then there's also a bunch of stuff that, like, some cool magic items and things that we're pulling from the Vault of Magic. And so then there's two things to keep in mind. If you don't own all of those books, we will have a kind of a reference appendix in the back that says, hey, if you don't have this book, you can substitute this baseline monster for this one that came out of this particular book. So people don't, we love for you to go and buy our other books. And there's also, ways that you can find those monster stats online. But if you don't have access to that, we're going to take care of you and make sure that you can at least pop something else in there that's going to be, comparable in power. Yeah. So
yeah, that's great. Awesome. Okay.
But it's much more fun if you have the full depth and breadth of the Kobold Press line of monster titles.
I mean, you'll never go wrong just collecting all of the Tome of Beasts and Creature Codex.
Exactly.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So,
awesome. Well, in the spirit of Hastening Doom and D23, let us start building the foundation of this dungeon. Now, one of the things that I saw out of D23 is that a lot of the earlier portions of it, or even every room, was kind of built off of or inspired by certain prompts, usually just one word or like a couple of words that helped give a sense of theme and potential like influence. So I want to throw this to our audience as well. Anybody watching right now, you can head over in the chat. We have space for 5 prompts that we can use. And these can be anything. This can be an element. This can be a certain kind of animal. This could just be an adjective. Whatever it is that you want to throw at us to be able to use to start building up this dungeon, please throw at us. And as we see them, I'll, we'll bring them up and such.
Okay.
And
I don't have access to the prompts or the chat, so you watch for them, and I'll type them into our little sheet here that we've got, if that works for you.
That works for me. You, I believe you should have access to edit it. Let me just make sure.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
it looks like I can.
Okay.
Yes,
perfect.
I can edit. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, so let's see what we've got so far.
Okay. I heard. Okay. First word, drow.
Drow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to hear 3 or 4 before we settle on one, but yeah.
I agree. So we have drow.
Okay.
Frozen is saying cats, but that's overdone. But I'm okay with that. Let's go with cats.
Okay.
Mimic.
All right.
Lots of creatures. Give us some just words and adjectives and elements as well. Because you're giving us creatures. And we can put any kind of creature in here. But I want to hear stuff like frozen. I want to hear things like earthquake or slimy. Something that gives us a lot of space to breathe. Wet? Okay, I love wet. So let's go. We have drow.
I like wet. So I'm going to put wet in there.
Yeah, let's put wet.
Okay.
Okay, people are saying drow. Let's put spiders. I think that's more broad and gives us some more aesthetic stuff that we can work with, and also still potentially leads towards drow. Let's see. Someone said, I heard yesterday there was a sentient fungus dread villain created. Ooh, shadowy. I like shadowy.
Okay.
Okay, so that gives us 3. We got space for 2 more. It could be adjectives, it can be elements, it can be objects, right? If you wanted to throw out like keys or like gates or iron, things like that could also be good. I do like fungal from
okay,
which gives wet, spidery, shadowy, fungal.
Right. We need one more.
We need one more prompt. Any word, gang. Moldy. Moldy feels close to fungal, I will say.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe not moldy. Crypts. I love crypts.
Ooh. All right.
That's fun.
All right. We'll do that. So.
Okay.
Wow. All right. So we've got wet, spiders, shadowy, fungal, crypts.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything immediately coming to you with like these words?
Yeah. I mean, I think we can throw some stuff together. Do you want me to start riffing on this?
Yeah, let's just just throw out some. Let's just throw out some ideas. What do you think?
So I think we've got crypts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that those crypts are filled with some kind of weird shadow spiders.
Ooh.
Okay.
All
right.
I like this.
But these shadow spiders are also amphibian spiders. So they build their weird shadow webs where you can't see the spiders or the webs, but they build them so that they're like half above the surface of the water and half below the surface of the water. And so one of the things that they do is when they get potential food or what have you caught in their webs, they will drag them under the water.
I love that.
And then all of the dampness from the water that's in these flooded crypts with these shadow spiders has caused a lot of fungal growth around the place. And so in addition to dealing with these shadow spiders, we're going to have things like shriekers or other potentially dangerous mold creatures or mold traps and things like that will make traversing this even more hazardous.
Yeah, I really like this. The webs of the spiders creating a kind of humid atmosphere, allowing for strange fungal growth. I really like the amphibian spiders, like dragging. Like, that's really good. That's really good. It's kind of making me think of, like, with this being the crypt, like maybe these are like the ancestral crypts to like either I love swamps. I keep saying I brought up swamps yesterday too, but either like a swampy or like river based or located like people who now are
some kind of wetlands.
Who like are like, we can't get into our ancestral crypts to be able to do XYZ because there's been this infestation of strange
weird
spiders.
Amphibious shadow spiders. Okay.
Let me put that here. Yeah, amphibious shadow spiders, strange fungal growths in the crypt. I like this. And you were saying other potential creatures. You mentioned ropers.
Right, like I didn't say ropers, but that's a great idea. I said shriekers.
Shriekers, that's what you said.
And then like some of the old like if we're going old school, things like brown molds or I can't remember what they called now, the green stuff. It's more of a hazard than an actual monster, but you know, we can definitely throw some hazards in there for all that too.
Yeah, I do like that. Especially for some of the hazards. I mean, having like a spore or gas spreading kind of like fungus trap, or it feels pretty classic. So like either like a paralytic one, which like, you know, paralyzes and then the spiders come and drag you off, or something else come and drag you off. Spore spreading fungi with a paralytic effect. To what's the word when that succumb? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. That.
Give me some context there.
The word that I'm looking for has to do with when you are like hunting or something, hunting something and you make it compliant. Is that it's when you make it
submit. I don't know.
I'll just say to make it easier for predators.
That'll work.
Yeah, I like that. And then there's this kind of there can be like a symbiotic relationship of like
with the spiders and the fungus.
Right, like the fungus will like paralyze them, and if there are any other like creatures in here as well, right, they can eat them, and then like their remains then fertilize the ground for more fungi to grow. The remains left behind act as breeding grounds for more fungus to grow. So it's like slowly over time, like as these spiders have been coming in, killing things, this fungi that's been growing is like taking up more and more of the crypt, making it just even more dangerous to get into. Everything I do always comes back to fungus for some reason. Fungus and spiders. It's always where it leads. Okay, I like this a lot.
Cool.
I was going to have us do a dungeon seed, but I feel like we have a pretty good sense of...
I think we have, This is, I mean, in the dungeon seeds, Houses of the Dead kind of works really well already. So these are crypts, and and obviously we'll have some undead in here as well since it's crypts. So but this is neat. All right,
I like this.
What do we need to do now?
Yeah, so sorry, my brain. I want to figure out one other potential antagonist for this dungeon.
Okay.
Is the spiders infesting this place a natural thing? Did someone bring them here? Or perhaps even their introduction, because we were just talking about undead, have the spiders and the fungi like upset the dead here in some way? Are they upset that no one has been tending to the crypt now, and that's causing even additional issues?
So, since it's a crypt, I feel like we could do something with undead, and maybe some of this fungus has some tie into the undead that are buried there because of the swamp, right? Because it's a very um, uh, rich environment for things like that. Um, then we could have things like say zombies
Oh yeah,
that
for sure.
that oh, we could do like the same kind of fungus or virus or whatever it is that makes the zombie ants that you hear about in the
We
news.
brought this up yesterday as well.
Oh, did we? Okay.
I'm not going to say we can't do it again because I love the idea. It's great, obviously.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, if some of the
So,
fungus is creating like zombies from
right.
the dead.
Well, right, and you did this thing with the paralytic effect. So, but maybe not everything gets eaten. Maybe the paralytic effect actually will, if you're exposed to it long enough, it doesn't just paralyze you; it just kills you and turns you into an undead.
Oh,
So
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So if creatures affected by that's the wrong affected by the spores aren't eaten fully, they rise again as like, oh yeah, because we have the fungus zombies from
right.
Caverns of the Spore Lord.
Yes.
Fungal zombies. Yeah.
See here.
I like that a lot. We were also calling them shadow spiders. What about them is shadowy, do we think?
Well, I was thinking that they actually have they're arcane in some manner and actually create like the effects of say a darkness spell around them. So I mean we can expand on that some if we want to, but that was just sort of what popped into my head when we first started down this path was that the spiders actually, and they could like the fungus and the undead could have been here first, but then somehow the shadow spiders moved in because they found the environment to be pleasing to their hunting sensibilities.
Yeah.
Maybe they came up from further, deeper down in the right. They've come up from even further below, where
maybe
somehow these crypts are connected to the underworld.
Yeah, I was just thinking like maybe there was recently like an earthquake or some other kind of like rift
there you go.
that opened in the crypt that like let out these spiders.
I like that too.
Below released by a rift in the earth that let out into the crypt. I like that a lot. And I like the shadow aspect of it being like a camouflage, like because they could like go into the water and then use darkness to make themselves like kind of invisible underwater to then just like pull people into.
Yeah. I don't want to go in this dungeon. I think
this is
like something easier to explore.
This is a terrifying dungeon. Weird really shadow spiders that'll drag you underwater. They use the shadowy camouflage. Camouflage. Am I spelling this right? There we go. They use shadowy camouflage to stay hidden. In the water and in the darkness of caves. Yeah, this is horrifying.
It really is.
Zombies risen from the mold that has grown here. Okay, so with this, all of this feels very like natural, right? An earthquake or something happened, which happened to let out these spiders that come from somewhere more dark and dangerous than where this place is, releasing them into this crypt, connected to like the water line. Maybe there was also some flooding in the crypts because of this, which has only made this like better for them. And now, because of the spiders and all their webbing, creating a more human environment, this mold is starting to grow, which then like just compounds on the spider issue and making the ancestral crypts just like almost impossible for this village, town, whatever, to be able to do it. Okay.
And you had listed that roper as a possible, additional creature.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a submerged roper,
oh god,
it's an aquatic roper.
Oh my gosh, I'm imagining I would want for somehow that like the players have to at some point or another like traverse by like boat, maybe to get there, or maybe even to like traverse part of it, because if this was like a waterborne like community in the first place, maybe the crypts are built in such a way where you travel through it by ferry. And I just love the idea of like their boat just like tentacles wrapping up around and pulling them, or a spider's web to do this.
That's a classic visual to begin with, but then to have it happen, maybe underground, with a different, and it's not just a kraken. It's okay.
Yeah, this is terrifying.
We're creeping ourselves out here, Kendo. So
hey, that means it's a good dungeon, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, let us figure out what is the hook then. How do the players end up getting roped into no pun intended.
No pun intended.
Get roped into, hey, can you go do this thing for us?
So, let's see. So I could see where this could be like once been, I don't want to say a large city, but it could be a decent sized town that. So it's kind of weird. You don't normally build crypts when you're in low-lying areas that flood a lot. If you think about like New Orleans, all the cemeteries are those mausoleums that are actually above the surface of the ground, because New Orleans is practically at sea level, and you constantly deal with flooding. But maybe this city was built on the edge of the swamp, or maybe it wasn't even swampy ground to begin with. And maybe this place is prone to some earthquake activity. So this thing that opened up and let the shadow spiders come in, that wasn't the first earthquake. Maybe there were a series of earthquakes in this city's past that caused the entire land to sink down, or maybe it was like a series of sinkholes, right? And the whole thing just sank down and became this flooded environment that because you could originally build a town a defensible settlement somewhere like on a hill, but if it's in an area that's got a lot of limestone in it, where there's lots of caverns and stuff below there, you could actually have some kind of weird natural disaster that caused the entire area to sink, and that's why it's all flooded now, right? So then you've got the pretty straightforward, hey, there's valuables down there, or there's something that some descendant of one of the nobles, or even the I don't want to say the mayor, but something like that would give them legitimacy to come back in and reclaim the area, and they want you to get that and bring it to them so they can say, look, see, I'm wearing the crown, I'm the root, something like that. Right? That everybody had to leave when all those sinkholes practically swallowed up the town, and now somebody's got the bright idea to come back and try to reclaim it because, power.
Yes. Okay, I love this. Starting off, The city was once like a prosperous trade hub potentially until seismic activity disrupted the local area, causing it to flood, and much of the settlement's infrastructure to sink. This isolated the community, and through this isolated community and threw things into chaos as those who could afford it began to leave and those who couldn't struggled to keep what survived together. And I think that's left us into.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I like the idea of maybe there is someone trying to like, basically, like all the nobles were like, things are sinking, things are flooding. This sucks. I'm going.
Right.
I'm leaving.
Right. And the people that got left behind wound up building like stilt houses or something, along the edge of this, but you could see the ruins from their stilt house village.
Exactly.
All right, what does our audience think about this so far? Have we got any interesting questions or
I do see some things. There's someone has said for a potential hook, someone disappears and someone goes and disappears into the shadows. I see a lot of someone saying volcanic, maybe that being the reason for the seismic activity. I do kind of like that as maybe as like a background thing. As you're getting lower and lower, it's getting warmer for some reason, maybe.
Right. So
yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah. Someone said a potential name for the underwater ropers, calling them floaters.
Floaters. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think the void. A void rift. Maybe
that could be cool.
Maybe that's where maybe they're void spiders. Rather than like shadowy spiders, and it can still have the kind of like using the like.
That's one of their abilities is that they cloak everything in shadows, but they are void spiders. Okay.
Yeah. Let me go.
What if? Okay, I like this, but let's suppose that we're still dealing with the the sinkholes, the cenotes, and the volcanic activity is actually like a void volcano on the other side of this rift. Ooh. And it causes this rift to open up into the prime material plane. And I think I'm doing my really old school thing there when I said prime material there. Just the material plane now. No, we don't call it the prime material, but anyway.
No, I know what you mean.
This volcano is like a void volcano, and it ripped open this gap, this tear between the void and the material plane. That's why it's like oozing through now, and that's where these void spiders also came from.
Yeah.
So that makes it, because I like the idea of combining the whole flooded swamp part with the volcanic activity part, but having them on opposite sides of the planar boundary and then getting intermingled because of that volcano popping through to our side is a really cool idea. That was a good idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And especially it means like as they delve deeper into the crypt, it can get weirder and more like you see the void beginning to peek through.
Yep. The deeper you go, the more unnatural it becomes.
Yeah. Through the crypt. I like that a lot.
Okay.
I liked your idea for the hook of like someone asking like, hey, can you go get something from this crypt? That's why it's important.
Right.
If maybe there is someone who is like, okay, all of the nobles and stuff, they all left us and we're trying to figure out stuff here. But there is this like, and like maybe there's like multiple factions now within this community that's now all trying to hold things together, but all have very different ideas and aren't like working in the same direction. And maybe there is like some ancestral crown or other regalia that they're like, hey, if you get me this, like by the laws of whatever, right? That then makes me leader, and I can then bring everybody together to go do this thing.
Right. And you could even have somebody else who was a competitor for getting that crown had gone in earlier and has disappeared and hasn't come back. That other idea that was thrown out there earlier for the hook, right?
So
somebody's disappeared and you have to go in. So you're going in to either find them or make sure they don't come back out. There's a lot of different reasons why you could do that.
I'm going to move the volcano stuff up to setting rather than in hooks because that's not
sure.
A hook. But this one I love. Someone has disappeared. It could be like someone who was like trying to simply could be like someone like my ancestor or someone I cared about died and was buried in the crypts, and I haven't been able to go like, you know, lay offering or anything since things have happened, and they went to go do that despite everyone saying, hey, that's a really bad idea, and they've gone missing, obviously.
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing, because maybe you kind of build it in as a cultural aspect of this whole thing. As like a big part of their culture is that they do, I don't want to say ancestor veneration is the right word. And so because of all of this, it's been years since they've been able to effectively, and maybe they feel like they have a curse because they haven't properly venerated their ancestors, and so they need someone who can maybe reverse the problem. That would be a tall order to go in and. But I think it's a cool idea.
I really like the idea of them like being like, I feel like I've been cursed because I haven't been able to go do my yearly offering to the ancestors. And like, despite it being dangerous or whatever, the ancestors are still saying, I need to go do this. And so they risk to go do it, and they have not been seen since.
Yeah. And so then your party of heroes goes in, and they come back out and they're like, okay, the good news is the ancestors are still down there. The bad news is that they're now fungus zombies.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Not participating.
Okay.
In the cultural practice.
Oh, even that fungus zombies thing could be part of why they think they're cursed, because that's not right. That the ancestor veneration is. You need to go make sure that you cleanse the ancestors of that problem. So that could be one of the hooks. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
love that.
Ooh,
there's so much going on in this.
Yes. The fungal infestation needs to be cleansed in order for the ancestors to be appeased.
Sure.
Yeah, at least that's what they believe, right? That's not necessarily a thing that is,
right.
I like that a lot. What was the other one? A member of one of the factions vying for control over the community is hiring mercenaries to clear the crypts of the spider infestation and reclaim an ancestral like crown regalia, whatever.
Regalia, yeah. Perfect.
To symbolize their in order to gain
their legitimacy, right?
Yes, there we go. In order to prove their legitimacy as leader. I think those are two powerful hooks. That is one for a more kind-hearted group who's like, oh no, this person's gone missing, let's go help them. And another one for like, this guy will pay us if we go and get this crown or whatever.
Right.
I like, gosh, this is such a cool, I wish we had more time to actually flesh this out. I love this.
All right.
Amazing. We don't have a ton more time left, so I will leave it at let us talk about what do we think the entrance to this place looks like.
So I've been thinking about it. I got an idea that the entrance is actually like a chapel of some sort.
Ooh.
That because the crypts would have been underneath this temple or this chapel or whatever initially, and it sank along with the crypts themselves, and so you actually maybe if you want to think of it like a sort of a classic Christian church type building, you might have to get into it through like the spire, one of the spires.
Oh, that's like
or like a cathedral spire, and to go down that way to start with.
Ooh. So like the sunken spire.
Yeah. So the spire, the top of it is obviously above the surface of the water, but that's how you get in.
Yeah.
So then you could have, this entire, I'll call it like the first level would be this, 4 or 5 rooms of this temple or chapel or what have you, with a main chamber and some side chambers where sometimes when you think about like a cathedral or something like that, you could have some of the very famous individuals have been laid to rest in sarcophagi that are actually in like little wings of the cathedral or the chapel.
Yeah.
And then there's like the stairs that are behind the altar or whatever that lead down into the actual the main crypts where most of the people have been laid to rest. But yeah, if you do that to start with, that would be and that's a small enough starting point that you could have 4 or 5 different chambers with some stuff in there that isn't just overwhelming. So the your party could go in and poke around in there, figure out, okay, there's a lot of obstacles to delving deeper until we get some stuff that we need, I mean, so you have to be careful with not having everything being flooded constantly. You'd need air pockets and stuff like that. And I'm not sure exactly how we'd make that work, it being as old, but it's fantasy, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But so air pockets in there, but you can say, all right, in order to move around effectively, we're really going to need like potions of water breathing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rings of free action, that kind of thing. And, maybe we don't need those right off the bat, but we're gonna eventually. And so, but if you do that as sort of that first level with 5 or 6 areas to explore, you can get a good sense of it without it overwhelming. Yeah. And that would be fun to design to start with too, because you can pull up some chapel floor plans off the internet or whatever, and then turn that around into something that's all right. Half of this is submerged.
Yeah, that's so good. I really, really like that. Even just like the imagery of like, okay, you all have to like, take whatever like boat out into the swamps to find this spire, like coming out of it. And then like, I don't know why I'm also imagining like the spire was like a bell tower. And so you can get up there and like, it doesn't really mean anything. Oh, actually, I like the idea of, if maybe the spire you can already see from the outside is covered in these webs from all of the spiders, and
gives you a hint,
right. And then if there are like spiders out there that are hunting, if one of the players can get to the bell and ring it, maybe like the sound of it is enough to like either like frighten the spiders or like stun them for a few moments.
They don't like that sound because it messes up the vibration of how they use the vibrations on their webs to track their prey. So if you ring the bell, it causes them to basically kind of blinds them for a little bit, or stuns them, deafens them, however you want to phrase it. That could be really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And you put stuff like that in your dungeon, where you give hints and clues of stuff that's a threat later on. It's like put scrape marks on the floor where a secret door is, and so that's why somebody can find the secret door. Or you put the webs, like you were mentioning. So okay, there's something clearly that makes webs down there. So, and then yeah, the idea with the bell is like, just put it in there, and if the players decide to try it, great. They get rewarded with something, some cool little trick that actually helps them get past, or stuns the spiders and lets them kill that first. They're not gonna be able to do it for the entire dungeon, but that first batch of them.
Yeah. And then maybe that gives them an idea of like, maybe I need to take Thunderclap or something. And it gives, especially if the spiders are a little harder to fight than they like to be like, hey, just so you know, you're going to get down there and it's going to be hard. This bell is here to help you for this
because they
fight.
Create magical darkness, but they're very, very susceptible to sonic attacks. Yep. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
And then we got all of this from Wet and Shadowy.
Right? Look, anybody can do this. You just take 5 words, you start throwing them together, and you get, this is amazing. I'd play this. Like, this is great. Gosh, I really wish we had more time, but tragically, we have run out of it. Thank you so much, Thomas. This was a joy to make this with you.
Not that I can think of to have more fun for an hour than to sit around and riff on a great dungeon idea. So this was a blast. Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear it. All right, everybody. Next up, we have an interview with 2 of the designers of Trade Secrets. A new, I believe this is going to be straight to PDF, but it might also come out as a hardcover. Thomas, you might.
Yeah, it's going to be in print. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
It'll be a hardcover as well. That is correct.
So it's going. This isn't crowdfunded or anything. This is going straight
straight to the shelves. That's right.
Exactly.
Yep.
So stick around. We will have more of that, but we'll go on break really quick. Go use the bathroom, get a snack, whatever you need, and we will be back with more Kobold Con. See you all. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Kobold Con 2026. I hope you all had a good little break, or whatever it is you were doing, but I'm glad you're back to sit here with me and two of our game designers who worked on Trade Secrets, a new straight-to-shelf hardcover book from Kobold Press that's talking a little bit about something that I feel players love asking about, and game masters always have a hard time being like, yeah, I guess you can do that, let's figure that out. And that's running a business and all of the other commerce stuff going on. So JD, Siegfried, thank you both so much for joining us to talk about Trade Secrets.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So I want to start off really quick by asking what is probably the big question, right? What is Trade Secrets?
Who's going to go first?
Go ahead.
Me? Okay, sounds good. So Trade Secrets is a cool book coming out associated with Tales of the Valiant. And it is a merchant-themed RPG supplement. So it's all about the world of commerce, however, as it pertains to adventure, which is an interesting challenge, because you don't always think of adventure when you think of commerce, but there's a lot of reasons why you should. And so this is a book that really delves into that area. Mm-hmm. One of the ways that you're going to encounter, I mean, there's two ways I think that like every game encounters commerce. One is like the old bar that everybody hangs out in and you get your job, or that kind of thing. That's a classic. So that's a business that is at the center of many RPG adventures. Mm-hmm. And then the other is the old guarding caravan trope, right? It is a way to get the characters into a combat encounter, giving them a secondary objective of something to defend, and have some NPCs built in. It's a very easy way to just set up and run some early combat and some early exploration, right? So those are the two that you always think about. But there's so much more that commerce can interact with and that you can get involved with. Mm-hmm. And then, as you alluded to, Kendrick, I mean, there's, it's a bit of a challenge when you're game master and the players are like, oh yeah, we want to sell all these swords that we got, or what if we hire some workmen to take apart the evil temple and then we cart the marble back, right? Or hey, we found an abandoned caravan. What kind of goods do they have, right? Mm-hmm. And the game master's like, I don't know, it's not really in here. So if you want answers to these questions and many more, Trade Secrets is the book for you. So yeah, if it sounds exciting to be a Viking trader, traveling off to foreign lands, plying your wares, seeing if you can make profit or avoid disaster, then that's the kind of stuff that's involved here. But also if you're just looking to flesh out your worlds and your cities with really cool merchants and shops and things like that. I mean, these are the parts of the book I worked on, at any rate. Mm-hmm. I'm sure JD will talk a little bit about his contributions, but those are some of the things that Trade Secrets is about. So it's anything that we could think of that is adventure-y oriented and good story and drama that's associated with merchant commerce, plus a lot of tables that tell you how much things cost, or how much they should cost, or how much you could sell them for, etc. Yeah. What's your take, JD?
Oh, I don't have one. No, a lot of what I wrote for Trade Secrets was about dealing with the merchants and giving the merchants more of a life of their own, so they don't just seem like a two-dimensional spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. A lot of times, one of the things that happens is that players walk into a shop somewhere. The GM quickly sketches out a character. Yeah, it's an older guy. He's got glasses. He's huddled over his table. He's doing his books. And then you have a brief RPG interaction, RP interaction, and then you sell some stuff and you buy some stuff and then you leave and you don't think about that ever again. Mm-hmm. Until at some point you're like, oh, wasn't there a store in that town that we visited once? And somebody's flipping through their notes. Yeah, the barkeeper's name was Ahab, and the GM's behind the screen going flip, 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 flip. Oh, right, that guy.
What was his voice again? What was his deal?
How did he sound?
Yeah.
I can't remember. He's a pirate. Whatever. Different Ahab. Mm-hmm. Ahab and Son. Yeah.
Ahab and
So
Sons, great shop.
that's right. Yeah, nautical themed for some reason. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of information about how to flesh out those shops, how to make them more interesting, and on the flip side of that, there are rules for how to be that person with that shop, and how you can flesh out your own shop so that you have stuff in there that helps you make more money, like nice, well-lit display cases, and frontage and signage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Also, uh, helpers. You can hire assistants, and the bigger your shop is, the more you can hire. You can have a workshop where you get people working in the back. All of that stuff, right? I'm getting way into the weeds on this, for a very basic question. So
No, it's
stop
great.
me
Well,
right now.
this is a
Ask me
book
no
about getting
questions.
into the weeds, I think,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
That's the whole
Going through the
deal.
aisles more likely, but yeah.
Yeah.
True, true.
I like that it sounds like this book has like a good balance between both how do you make the existence of commerce and like the fact that people trade things for goods and services a part of the story of the game, while also adding on, hey, the people that were already doing this are also characters with their own inner lives and goals and motivations that as you become immersed in this a little bit, you will then have to like there's a difference between being just an adventurer, like talking to the guy at the shop, being another small business owner talking to your fellow merchant, right? And how all of that becomes a part of the story of adventure, which is a really fascinating angle to approach this book from, rather than just have it be here's a bunch of tables for things, right? There are
Right.
narrative elements to this as well that is
Absolutely.
really interesting to hit on.
Yeah, I think anytime in role-playing games, you're always going to be looking as a game designer, like, where's the drama? Where's the action? Where's the excitement? Where's the conflict? And also, like, where's the wonder, right? That's kind of the last one that's a little different. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
when you're doing a lot of information about trade goods and how much they cost, well, there's not a lot of any of those things there. So you have to kind of build that in other areas, right? But they're still useful. It's useful information. But, when I was doing examples of shops and examples of shopkeepers, that's where I'm really going to kind of throw in the spice. Or, making individual pieces of equipment. When I'm getting into the gritty details, I'm always going to try and throw in possibilities for conflict, possibilities for humor, whatever I can to kind of make it exciting and interesting. But you do have to have the bones there. You got to have some basic information as well if you want to find out how much stuff costs.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. We do have a question here from one of our audience members. Is the running a shop portion of it, does that meld into the downtime rules that Tales of the Valiant brings?
Absolutely.
Or is there so what does some of those options look like, I suppose? And
So there's a couple of downtime options that I wrote up. One of them is shopping is downtime. So that's you as an adventurer saying, I'm going to go into this town's marketplace, wherever that happens to be, and I'm going to look for specific things, or I'm going to just look for bargains. And that gives you the ability to say, I'm going to spend X amount of time, and I'm going to get X number of rolls, and I'm going to get this bonus, that bonus. I'm going to get advantage. I'm not going to and so on and so on. But there is a rather large section about running a shop as a downtime activity. And there's a lot of detail in there about how to set it up so that you can basically just open the shop whenever you're in town. Hey, I'm here. We've been adventuring for 3 months. I'm finally back. I'm going to open up the shop again, dust off the shelves. I'm going to sell some of the stuff that we bought. I'm going to sell some of the stuff that we found, whatever. And then time for another adventure. Close the doors, lock the lock the windows. Off you go, and you're off on another adventure.
Yeah.
But it also gives you the option, because you're out doing the stuff that's really lucrative, killing dragons for money and all that sort of thing. It gives you the option of hiring assistants to let them run the shop for you while you're gone, and it stops being your downtime activity and it starts being their full-time activity.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of
And
sense.
from you is a little management.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I love how basically seamless this works with what Tales of the Valiant already brings with downtime options. And it just like the idea of eventually, well, I don't have to use my downtime action for this so much anymore because I have people who do this for me. And now my downtime action is maybe checking in on them and like, you know, carousing or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a section that talks about tool use. There's expanded uses for the different tools that are in Tales of the Valiant, and so there are additional downtime activities to do with the tools that are in the kind of the standard set in there. So if you find some of the ones you already have not to your liking, you got a bunch more things you can do.
Yeah. Which, I mean, expanded downtime rules for that is just great. More options for more things to do. I think downtime is like really one of those aspects of Tales of the Valiant I love a lot, in that there is, we imagine so much time in between like adventures of like, you know, we just spent a week going through this dungeon or whatever, we just came back into town, and maybe not everybody wants to do an entire session that is just the shopping episode or the I'm running the shop episode, or, you know, I'm going to go use my blacksmith's tools to forge a thing. Like, you can make that a whole session if you want, but it's also easier and quicker to resolve it through a couple of dice rolls, some narration, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and there's actually stuff in the... Go ahead.
I was just to say, if it's something that you're adding to a campaign, it's also about character building. I mean, you know, if what's the character's life outside of the dungeon? Mm-hmm. That's something that maybe it doesn't matter when you're at a one shot at a convention, but when you're playing a campaign, having a sense of who your character is and what their life is like is pretty satisfying. So downtime's a great way to kind of build that up.
Yeah.
There's a significant section early on in the book about shopping during sessions, because not everybody is into that. Some people are just like, they look through the book, I want to buy one of these, you know, do you want to haggle with the guy? No, I don't care. It's 250 gold pieces, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, but some players really enjoy that haggling. They really enjoy getting to know the merchant, you know, and so there are rules in here not just for like developing those characters, but also maintaining pace, right? Because you don't want to spend too much time with that encounter where they're just like BSing with some merchant. You know, but at the same time, you want to make that merchant seem like a real person and make them actually want to come back to the shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's quite a bit in the very beginning of the book about keeping it interesting.
Yeah, I love that. We got another question. So, Siegfried, you mentioned earlier that parts of the book that you worked on were about bringing commerce into like the narrative, and like what do adventures kind of either motivated or kind of surrounding the idea of commerce, trade, getting things, so on and so forth. Are there any adventures themselves or like prompts or hooks in the game, or sorry, in Trade Secrets?
Not in my part of the book. I certainly try to suggest a lot of that. Like one of the example shops is a major blacksmithy shop that has like some enormous forge hammers, and it's a big shop, and it nominally it is run by this set of brothers, right? But in secret, there is the Lilies Society, which is some criminal enterprise that controls them because they're in debt to this criminal enterprise, and they've got a secret underground room in the place where they do their business. So do you need to know that about a place where you go buy your sword? Maybe not, but it's a possibility for an adventure. It's not written as an adventure hook, but anytime I'm giving examples or something specific, I'm trying to put in suggestions, as it were, into somebody's mind, inspirations. Also in like the security section, I love heist adventures. So I really tried to kind of put suggestions of the security systems in a way to suggest, hey, wouldn't it be cool to try and get past this? Or wouldn't it be cool to try and use these in your shop to defend against some bad guys that are trying to come in there? So nothing explicit on my side. JD, did you have any adventure hooks in your sections?
Oh,
okay.
Tons.
Ooh,
yeah, I got assigned, I think, 90% of the adventure hooks.
Okay, okay, yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, there was one, I actually was very motivated, very inspired by the Lily Society. And I have I'm not going to give names specifically, just in case, you know, somebody wants to use this later on in their own campaign, but there are some blacksmiths who are involved in counterfeiting. And they are basically making coin blanks to stamp things onto, and then, taking those out, and it turns out, hey, that gold coin is filled with lead. So, it's a group you can run into. It's mostly that sort of thing. There's a lot of counterfeiting, forgery, clipping, which, if you don't know what clipping is, it's shaving off little bits of a coin for the precious metal, right? So the coin is still a tradable coin. It's just worth less, and eventually, after you do that enough, you've got enough to make a full coin. It's mildly profitable. It's labor intensive, very illegal, and it's the reason actually that modern day coins usually have ridges on the edges so that you can tell that that's been done.
I didn't know that, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, there's also stuff about like tax evaders, because that's a huge thing, right? Taxes in the Middle Ages were assessed by basically just somebody from, the court coming by and looking at your house and going, okay, this house is worth 20 gold pieces, and you have 5 cows, so there's another 2 gold pieces. That's basically how it works, and there's easy ways to get around that. If you're like, I know the tax collector's coming, I'm going to send my cows out to the other pasture that nobody knows about. So there's story hooks like that. But then it even gets more into stuff like, specific quests, like even just fetch quests. Hey, we want you to get on that caravan and go, make sure it stays safe. We want you to make sure the stuff gets back to us. Manufacturing quests, go get stuff that we need. And the people who have it aren't going to be happy to part with it, just giving you a warning. Yeah, tons and tons of stuff. I wrote probably 20 or 30 pages worth of story hooks about that sort of thing.
That's so good. And I imagine, are they all, I guess, separate from each other, or are they designed in a way where if someone wanted, they could connect them to each other?
Sort of between the two, right? They're all individual. You can take any one of them piecemeal. But if you want to start tying things together, it's not difficult, because I'm not getting specific, and the story hooks are very brief, and they just include a couple little simple like rules interactions. Hey, if you want to convince this guy to actually give this up without having a fight, it's a DC 12 charisma persuasion.
Yeah, that makes sense. We did get a question that I can answer really quick. Someone asked if there's going to be a separate map pack that will be included with the PDF. And the answer is no, there will not be a map pack that is specifically designed for any of our crowdfunded stuff. So like our Kickstarters, everything, all of the maps, everything that is a part of this book will be included in the book and with the PDF. Someone asked, are there any shopkeeper NPC blocks? Like stat blocks, I suppose.
That's an interesting question, because that's one of the things I asked the editor when I read through the outline that I was given, and I was like, I'm supposed to put in some NPCs. Is there an NPC stat block standard? And I didn't really find one in the books, and I was told, well, do what you think makes the most sense. Yeah. So that'll depend a little bit on the formatting of the book, to be honest.
That's fair.
Are they going to present it in a more graphical stat block type format, or are they going to present the information that I gave in a more textual list format? I'm not sure. I certainly presented it in a way that each of the example merchants and shops have the same information repeated for each person, so that it's possible to have that kind of a stat block. And I did go back and look at other Tales of the Valiant books, and as best I could, see what's been presented in the past in those kinds of situations, and to use that as much as I could. But there wasn't hard standards, so I do have some of that information, and I try to present sort of some standard information about each shop. I didn't get into like specifics about their finances, like what's their quarterly earnings or anything like that. It didn't seem important.
We want to invest, Siegfried. Come on, we need that information.
So it's not hard stats on them, but like every shop has an owner and a manager. Sometimes those are the same person, sometimes those are different. So I tried to present consistent information about each of the examples that I gave, so that you could compare them, and so that you'd be quick and easy to go, oh, here's some things I fill out. And then like for the example NPCs that I did for the shopkeepers, the random table generation that you could use to make the shopkeepers could have made those characters. Maybe not the names exactly, because I like to just come up with my own names a lot. But the traits and personality they have are all inspired by things that I put in the tables, so that kind of eat my own porridge there, as it were. Yeah, so you could use the examples I have if you like those folks. But there's a whole bunch of tables to just inspire you with all kinds of, like, what is their personal motivation for the shopkeeper outside of their business? What's their business motivation? Because there's different reasons you might run a shop. Weird little quirks they have, all kinds of different things. So if you're looking just for inspiration and you're like, I don't know who this guy is, roll in a couple tables, you'll get an idea and you get the ball running. So
yeah.
So I have a question actually for the person who asked the question. Maybe we can get a response here. What is it about a shopkeeper that you think needs a stat block for?
That's a great question, because it assumes that it's someone you're going to fight, or someone who has the capability to fight, when that's not necessarily what you're going into your shop to do, unless you're hoping to heist the place.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one of the concerns. I wrote a sidebar early on because I see that so much, right? And that's the way I actually used to play pretty often. But I wrote a sidebar specifically for that that basically says, look, if you're going to have a group that's likely to start a fight with a merchant, just be prepared with some guard stat blocks, right? Because it doesn't cost anything for that merchant to just go, somebody call the guard!
Yeah.
And then a couple rounds later, there they are. But yeah, if you expect the players to get really aggressive, though, you can also design the shop so that they have some defenses built in. There's a wand of binding behind the counter that nobody talks about because it almost never comes up. That sort of thing.
And if they don't have security now, maybe when they hear about this roving band of adventurers starting fights, they'll learn pretty quickly.
Adventurers.
Yeah.
Shop security was a really interesting thing to think about, because if you're in this fantasy world where there are supernatural powers and heroes and giant monsters, shop security is a different kind of a question than it is maybe in our world or whatnot. So that was just a really interesting one for me to think about as I was writing and to try and integrate into the descriptions. And, basically the more valuable the stuff the shop has in it, probably the more serious their security is. Because if somebody runs in and tries to grab some lumber from you or some rations or something, is it worth a fight? No, probably not. You just let them get away with it. You call the town guard. Or pay the town guard, probably is more realistic, to go find this guy for you. But if you're selling magic items, that shop is going to have some serious security of some kind. And a couple of the examples I have do talk about what kind of security is in the shop. One guy who has a big warehouse, and he's an ex-adventurer, an orc, and he's got a friend who's a mute necromancer, and he's got zombies that both work in the shop and double as security if need be, right?
Yeah.
Take care of things.
See, fun. That's fun. The question asker did answer, when you have PCs who love to steal. And then someone else said,
never happens. What kind of game are you running there?
What? Why would they steal? They're supposed to be heroic. And then someone else also said, for persuade saves or even spell saves as well. For your adventurers who can't help but cast friends and charm persons for every merchant they want to haggle down price for.
And there may or may not be things in the game that let you do stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely a serious challenge. I thought about it too, and I was like, one of the things you would want in a shop is to have a proprietor, but then you have somebody that checks, right? So a friend, an associate that's he is not behaving the normal way, right? And so if you're a lone shopkeeper, you're a lot more vulnerable to that. But if you have a friend or an associate or somebody else who can keep an eye on things, that makes it a lot more challenging for the players to pull a fast one on them.
Have a little detect magic bauble somewhere nearby the stand. It's well, you just, I was feeling really good about you and I was going to give you a discount, but this is glowing red, which tells me I probably should. So, obviously there's large portions of this book that are about commerce are about. Hold on, wait, I'm making sure that. Oh, sorry, Okay, we are live. Sorry, I had to make sure that
little technical danger sign. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no,
Whoop, whoop.
what's going on? It's totally fine. We're all good. The vast majority or large portions of this book are dedicated to like running shops, dealing with merchants. What does all of that mean? How does commerce come into this? But I also imagine that this book has a lot of items in it as well that you can shop for and that you can sell to others. What are some of the new objects, items, either regular and mundane or magical, and like what? Yeah, is there anything amongst all of that you think people will be surprised by, or that you were even surprised by as you were designing?
I think this is me, Siegfried.
Sure. Yeah. We've all got some stuff, but yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I wrote a big section of chapter 4 that is all about all the ordinary things you can buy, from provisions, alchemical items, gear, yeah, all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of like scraped up everything I could find that, seemed like it was feasible in a medieval setting, in a fantasy setting.
Mm-hmm.
And just poured as much of that as I could in. There are a lot of provisions that are based on real world things, and some that are based on things that wouldn't make sense otherwise. Dragon's Tears, it's a drink, and
Ooh.
once you've had it, you're immune. Well, it's a little harder to poison you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Ingested poisons, let's be clear. But a lot of these things, like that one, for example, you have to make a con save to actually keep it down.
Because it is Dragon's Tears. Yeah, no, that would make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. I had a lot of fun designing things that had, good uses to them, but also had drawbacks to either making them or actually using them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're, little obstacles to overcome. And then there's a huge section on magic items, some of which are designed specifically to go in stores, some of which are more combat oriented. There's a bunch of new herbal consumables. Some examples: glimmer oil gives you dark vision for a while, but makes you also light sensitive.
I love the pros and cons of each of these items.
Exactly. A lot of that kind of thing. Slumber leaf tea gives you the benefit of sleeping for 8 hours if you only sleep for 6.
Yeah.
But you have to actually consciously try to fall asleep. It's not just something where you can go, I'm going to give him slumber leaf tea and wait until he falls asleep.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't quite work that way. But anyway, yeah. And then there's the opposite, wide awake tea. Helps you stay awake, but gradually gives you exhaustion levels.
Yeah. I've had a late night too. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, exactly.
Something
all
writers are familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's 2 a.m. Time for my wake 'em up tea.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of Monster Energy drink consumed while working on this.
I do like the idea of it just be a caffeinated drink made out of Monster.
Let me think. What could I put in this book? Oh, hey.
That's game design sometimes.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
I talked about mine. Siegfried, what about yours?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I did the trade goods section, which is wheat and ore and wood and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
Which is not the most exciting stuff in the world. But I also got to split chapter 4, and there were some fun things in there. Personally, I love alchemical stuff, so that was where my all-time favorite things to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I always think of a little. I like to put a little humor into what I do, and alchemical stuff to me always has that potential for zaniness. So I went with a little bit of a late night infomercial theme on some of them. So some of the ones I like, you got battle tape, right? Which is basically a sticky tape you put on your weapons for extra grip. But hey, while you've got battle tape, you could improvise a siege machine or something with it, right? Get enough weapons and some battle tape, and you can make just about anything.
Now, how much would you pay?
Exactly. We've got Bestie Bond, which is essentially a glue, like a solver glue, but it's called Bestie Bond because it's your bestie friend, and you can fix your stuff in an instant, right? Or glue a monster to the wall, or whatever it is you please. Add a little Bestie Bond, and you're good to go. Drink and Die, but it's DYE, so why not be a chartreuse adventurer for a day if you want to? Just get some drink and die, and you're good to go. And one that I particularly like, Wonder Whiff, which I don't think I've ever seen before. The idea of Wonder Whiff is it's a solution, and whatever you dip in it, the Wonder Whiff will smell like the thing you dipped it in. So you can recreate different scents, and then, like, if you want to make a false trail for a dog to follow or something, or you just want to disguise the scent of something else, you can, scent your Wonder Whiff and then douse it all over something else to make it smell differently. So I love getting into that stuff. There's something in the Tinker Tools called the Wonder Wash, which is a gnomish invention that is supposed to wash your dishes. It costs like 5,000 gold. It's a legendary item, but no one's ever been able to make it work. Like, it always doesn't quite work in some fashion, right? No one's managed to perfect it. It's been handed from inventor to inventor, each trying to perfect the legendary item, because that would make your reputation if you can get the Wonder Wash to actually wash a set of dishes without any mishaps. But unfortunately, not so much. A little more serious things. I've got some weapons in there. I've got some hook swords, which I think are really neat. It's kind of a modern martial arts weapon of two swords that have hooks on the end, and you can hook them together and create a one long sort of whip sword thing. They're really crazy to watch people use. So I modeled that because I think that's kind of a neat, different kind of weapon. And so I created new weapon properties. We've got new weapon actions and weapon materials. To just add more variety to everything, so you can mix and match. Pistol swords. Why have a pistol or a sword when you could have a pistol sword? A historically accurate item, although mostly made for the sake of showing off your blacksmithing skills. But they're kind of cool. And since there are firearms in the game, we put that in. Tiger claws, those kind of things. Yeah, totally. I mean, they're real things, so I usually like to do my weapons based on historical stuff, unless I have a wild, concept. Another cool one's a fire lance, which is basically a spear with fireworks on the end of it, right? That you just, you light it up, and then you've got fire spitting out the end of your spear. It's very disconcerting to your enemies, right? So it's not really super.
And back away quickly.
Yeah, it's more distracting than dangerous, but so we got that. I even put in some, armor is kind of hard because they want some new armors. Tales of the Valiant covers the historical sets of real world armors pretty well, plus some of the fantasy trope armors. So there wasn't a lot of room, but I noticed that fashion armor had not been covered. So we've got that in there. Yeah. It may not protect you, but it sure looks good. So we got some fashion armor, wooden armor, there are historical wooden armors, which is kind of fun because then you've got buoyant armor. If you fall overboard on the boat, you're fine. You got a flotation vest and a breastplate, right? Yeah. A lot of new shields. So that was an area where there wasn't as much detail. So I got to work on a bunch of new, based on historical ideas, different kinds of shields, big cestus shield, like the Romans used, spike shields, little bucklers, all kinds of different things and different properties to make each one interesting and a little bit different, right? So, because I always think equipment is as much a mechanical thing to fight well. It's also an expression of your character's kind of unique personality, right? Yeah. Picking an interesting weapon is a great way to kind of say, hey, my character's a little different than everybody else, is what I like to do. So try to put a little role playing in everything, as it were.
That was
so
great.
I had fun with that stuff. It was pretty good, especially after working through the different kinds of animal fibers and types of pottery and things like that, which was really interesting research, and is very useful if you want to run a real merchant campaign where you're sailing ships around. Like if you're doing, I know there's a Pirates book coming out soon.
Pirates of
Yeah, and we worked together with them a little bit on this kind of stuff about, like if you take another pirate ship, what kind of stuff do you get? And so they'll have a bunch of that in that book, but in this one even more so. All kinds of different things that might be traded, how much it might cost, and when you bring it to market, what are the market conditions, Is porcelain really hot right now, or do we have tons of that stuff, right? So you get into all that.
I love I love the idea of now this book being kind of tied with Pirates and Plunder, especially as you were saying, like you were working on like how much is ore and wood and all of these things, and like being able to go, yes, we've plundered this, we've plundered this naval vessel. Now we have all these like raw material goods. How can we use them? But also both of just like the items that you all were telling me about. I really want like a traveling snake oil salesman or like something of that variety of just like, yes, dragon tears. Oh, try try this drink and die. Like just like showing off all of these just like kind of minor magical trinkets that are like kind of useful, I guess. Some more than others.
Yeah, one of the things I asked the editor is I was like, how much anachronism do you want, right? Because some of the outlines that I was given, is pretty anachronistic. Money laundering isn't really a thing you find outside of the modern era banking, but it can make a fun story. And so, I just wanted to get a sense of, they're like, oh yeah, go for anachronisms. If it's fun, go ahead and use it. So I like bringing in those kinds of things, or the idea of a medieval franchise is just kind of inherently funny. Yeah. One of my campaigns, I have the Noble's Choice. And the Noble's Choice is always run by sort of a teenager. It's like, welcome to the Noble's Choice of nobles across the land. Would you like the deluxe king suite or the pauper's, palace? I mean, that's probably not a thing that existed, but boy, it sure can exist in your game and entertain the players, right? So.
Huzzah, sir, and welcome.
Welcome. I love the Noble's Choice.
Yeah, so any town, a big enough town you go into, there'll be a Noble's Choice. It might not be the best choice, but...
it's the Noble Choice.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like...
nobles there necessarily, but there'll be somebody.
Yeah. I'm starting to feel like our different sections will be immediately apparent as to who wrote them, because yours have a much more of a sense of whimsy than mine do. Mine tend to be like, oh, here's this really nice thing. It has a really sad story behind it.
That's good. I mean, you want both,
match.
Right?
Exactly. This book can do both. You want kind of very serious, like, oh, this merchant is really wants this business that he started from the ground up to work, but he's in deep debt with one of the with like an underground like criminal organization. It's so sad. Exactly. But also, if you want, he's really thinking about selling out to Noble's Choice and maybe opening up a little, like, it can all be meshed together. It can all work together.
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone asked, is there going to be any like enchantment or crafting materials that are a part of all of this?
Oh yeah. There is a big section in, I think it's chapter 5. Yeah. I wrote a big section on not just enchanting items, but disenchanting magic items. And hopefully they kept the name, because I really like the name I came up with for the arcane dust that you get from doing this. I called it Prima Materia.
I like that name. I hope they kept that.
Yeah.
Good name.
It has a lot of uses. It is expensive. So yeah, you can actually set up a business just like disenchanting magic items and then selling the Prima Materia dust. But if you want to actually use it, you can use it to cast spells, you can use it to make magic items, you can use it to, enhance your spells, to get more range, get more area effect, all that kind of stuff. And there's a long list of like all the things that are magical enough, all the creatures that are magical enough that you can actually extract Prima Materia from their corpses.
Oh, fascinating. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Oh, you can also use it to charge magic items that have charges.
That's I love a multi-use tool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's great. Another one of our audience asked, will there be any like a quick like historical primer on like mercantilism and like feudalism and how those things tended to work in the worlds, or does this take a more like fantasy approach and like this is how generally we use or you can use these concepts in your world?
Yeah, some of that. I didn't get a lot into government structures very much here because I really wanted to focus on, and traditionally you think of merchants being a bit independent. I do write a little bit about that and how in many societies, the government is the one doing all the mercantile activities, right? Like it depends on the kind of culture you've got going on. But I didn't dive too much into it. Also, there are instances, and I write about it a little bit, where guilds have become governments, essentially, where a very powerful guild, there's a really famous story, I don't remember her name, about a pirate, lady pirate, who eventually her merchant fleet got big enough in the kind of Renaissance period in the Mediterranean that her pirate group, kind of shut down the trade, such that like she had to become the trade. Somebody still had to move the goods around, and so instead of pirating, she became the protector of the ships, and eventually really was the only person you could talk to if you wanted to move stuff across the Mediterranean, and so she essentially became a pseudo government after a while, right? So yeah, so from pirate to kind of merchant guild captain to essentially a nation state almost, operating out of one of the city states. Yeah, it's super cool. So I mean, there's a lot of neat history, and that would be like a great character to have in a world that the players are going to interact with either as a foil or as an employer, right? And so we talk a little bit about that. And there's a section on guilds and different kinds of guilds and how they operate. And I've got some. I have an economics degree, so it was kind of cool to have a book where I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to use my college degree in my gaming book. That's pretty neat. So yeah, you're going to get a little bit of lesson about currency and inflation and different types of transactional methods, systems of reputation, we're like, oh yeah, I'm good for it, right? You just got a bill of this person will pay me back a favor, trade, bartering networks. And even one of the most interesting ones that comes up is battle as a form of currency or warfare, where, one tribe shows up on another tribe and they're like, look how tough and dangerous we are. We could easily take some of your stuff. Yeah. So how much stuff are you going to give us? Right. Okay, well, here's how much stuff. We think you're pretty scary, so we're going to give you these things. We'd like to have. So it's like a form of trade, but it's like trading's kind of for the weak. We got to show how strong we are to determine what the exchange rate here is between us on stuff. So there's really some interesting things. But I tried to pick the stuff that would make for good stories, right? So that's the stuff I like to talk about. Things that you just have to understand in order to get why businesses work the way they do. So those may be the driest bits, but other than that, I try to bring in those cool things in history that are interesting and different, and that's kind of the stuff I want to talk about the most generally. But so you'll get some ideas on monetary theory and how some of that works, and generally how the business of trading works. Harvesting raw materials, transporting those materials to a place where they are in higher demand, selling them to somebody who's going to do something else with them to add additional value, just so that when you're structuring a world, if you're going to have a financial, a campaign that's based in this, it feels right and it makes sense, right? And you don't get those situations where like, why is the wood valuable? I don't know. It's because they're building churches over here, right? So, exactly. So there's a high demand for it because something is going on, and that's why everyone's scrambling to get more wood here, and that sort of thing. So, I talk a little bit about taxation. It's one of those things in my research. Taxation is a little iffy, and it tends to be more like somebody needs to raise some money. They look around, who's got money right now? Okay, we're going to tax you guys for a while. Or import tariffs, kind of common way that governments of a historical period did taxes. But most of those governments are not organized enough to have something like the IRS or a modern tax system where you have exact amounts that you owe. And so tax collectors are often independents. I think I talked about them a little bit too, is that they're like contractors. Basically, you offer to go collect taxes and you get a cut, right? So the more taxes you collect, the better your cut is. And so a lot of tax collectors were essentially a mercenary of that type, which is what they were not much loved. Random people that you don't know showing up demanding money that they're going to give to the king.
That does paint a very different light of it not being a very specific like group or organization. It's just like basically a mercenary tax person who just shows up and is like, yeah, trust me, I'm doing taxes, I promise you. Wild.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they would try to show you some insignia or something, but you might just get sent packing, right? If you're that guy, they're like, "Yeah, I got a broadsword." It says no.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's two story hooks for you right there. One, you get hired to go out and collect taxes. You and your group suddenly are no longer adventurers; you're tax collectors. And the other is you and your group are there to stop the tax collectors.
That's right. They keep showing up, but the king isn't getting this money that they're supposedly getting.
It's supposed to go towards roads.
Someone did ask, and I'll have this be our last question. Someone asked about a loan shark NPC, which I then think kind of leads to a question: is there anything in the book about how loans work within like this kind of economic system, or I guess how players might also loan to other people and then become loan sharks themselves, if that's the kind of game they're playing?
Well, I do have a loan shark NPC.
Okay.
I didn't really delve too much into the idea of loan sharking other than just to describe how he works.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you who are interested, you're going to be looking in the book for Mulgore the Cruel.
That's a
fellow.
loan shark. Yeah.
He is a sweet fellow. He's very nice. He's extremely nice. He charges 20 to 30% interest, though. And a lot of people can't afford to pay that for some reason, so he also deals in real estate.
I bet.
He has a few servants,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of servants, so many that he sometimes sells them to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a lot of friends among the magistrates, so no court in the land would convict him.
God.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, and I've only got a short piece on loans. It's another one of those areas where it wasn't as... I mean, money lending was pretty common, but it was usually big institutions lending each other money, right?
Yeah.
And usually you're lending the king money, and then the king promises to pay you back when the war goes well. Small personal loans, a little less common, but they did exist. The main thing I kind of wrote about is really in that kind of a setting, you probably need serious collateral to get a loan. A lot of the times you're going to be like, okay, here's the deed to my property, or here is a magic sword that you can hang on to until I pay you back. So kind of like a pawn shop type situation is the more, I guess, realistic if you're going historical. But of course, in a fantasy game, you don't have to do that. I just like to kind of give that perspective because it does make it feel like a fantasy game or, in a historical game. So
Yeah.
It's a little less likely that the random, gnome is going to lend you 20 gold pieces just on your say-so, because he'll probably never see you again, right? There's not any way he could track you down and make you pay it back. So
Yeah.
it tend to be pretty big. But with magic, anything's possible. So
Scrying
maybe somebody
exists.
comes up with a good way to guarantee loans and track down delinquent borrowers. It sounds like an interesting setup for a story.
I'll give you this 100 gold. I just need a lock of your hair. That's normal.
Yeah, that's all.
Don't worry about it. Amazing. Well, JD, Siegfried, thank you both so much for talking with us about trade secrets. This is... I had very little idea other than I knew that it was going to be a book about stores, running businesses and stuff, but you all have painted a picture of a book that I kind of feel like I need now, purely because I think
You absolutely do.
I mean, yes, we all need this, right? But there is like an aspect of there are so many stories that I can think of now that feel like grounded in the reality, the material reality of the world that the people are living in, and how those small details of, this town is doing a new construction project, so all of a sudden certain materials are worth more and people are looking for certain things, and like a normal part of a story now has more depth that you can explore it through, not just there was a shipment that was supposed to come in of like yada yada yada, so on and so forth, stop the bandits or whatever. Now it's like the economic reality of this town has changed, and the players can choose to navigate that in whatever the way they want. And I don't know, those kinds of doors opening just, I think, opens up the many ways that people can play their games, and might even create a new form of play that a table didn't realize that they were really going to like. And now, maybe they will.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
And
yeah, oh no, please.
I was just gonna say, and just to clarify, I mean, the content scales up, right? This is not just about, the low-level adventurers going into the local, wine shop or whatever to buy potions. But yeah, I mean, we've got like stuff from other planes. We've got, we also have, merchant-related stuff for all of the classes. There's a whole bunch of that material in here. Magic items that attach to all of the classes and that are useful as
like arcane foci, as monk weapons, as that's so cool. I love that. Dang, I wish I had asked that question earlier when we had more time. But maybe at a different point. Yeah, thank you both so much. This has been a joy. And thank you all for watching as well. We are ending part 1 of today's festivities. Not because Kobold Con is done. It's because you all can head on over to the Discord and get some org play on. Play some Tales of the Valiant, some Riverbank, whatever it is that you're doing. Go have a good time, and we will be back later today at 7 p.m. Pacific time to play a little Northlands adventure, GM'd by the project lead of Northlands himself, Brian Suskind, and featuring some of your favorite kobolds as we try to stop Ragnarok, I guess. I'm not. What else do you do in the Northlands? But we will see you here 7 p.m. Pacific time. Go play some games, get some dinner, whatever it is you need to do. And thank you so much for being here. We will see you then. And until then, don't forget to go out, be bold, be brave, be valiant.